Lonestar Collective Podcast. I'm your host, Jesse Williams. Man, I'm not gonna lie, I'm exhausted. We've had quite a week.
There's no doubt about that.
So we're having a seasonal update. That's episode 57 for this week. Our seasonal update. We just got finished with our Texas Marijuana March and Freedom Festival in Fort Worth, Texas.
It was a hell of a time.
I've got that date imprinted in my head from saying that so much. Texas Marijuana March and Freedom Festival, October 8th at the Burnett Park in Fort Worth, Texas.
I tell you what, I'll trade with you. I had to deal with all the reservations for the vendors, the food vendors, and the city, and blah, 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 blah. Yeah, it was fun. It was a lot of fun. I'm ready to do it again. Next year, let's go.
If I could do that, I'd trade you if I can get one of those little motorized carts. Like,
yeah. I think I might need one
Angela,
next year.
Like Angela had. I told her, I was like, I'm not gonna lie, I'm envious of that cart. She's like, what? I was like, I started at the beginning of the march and sat there through the whole march came past me. At which point I had to then circle around and then start running while recording and trying to keep this camera somewhat steady. Because otherwise it's going to look like Michael J. Fox was filming it.
Yeah. And
run at least halfway back up the march so I could get other shots of the march coming by. Run back up again as they start taking the corner and wound up cutting like a parking lot so I could get to that overpass. Because that's such a great shot. That overpass, people coming through that's so great.
You had said you were going to try to get a Uber back to the park from the courthouse. How'd that work out for you?
I was like, the cops unblocked everything off. I totally blanked my mind that everything's blocked off. Cops ain't letting me get no Uber through there.
I didn't think about it either when you said it, but it was a nice thought anyway.
So I'm trying to Uber back. Nope. Running and jogging back and trying to walk back. Yeah,
pretty much.
We've got to bring in our little side video over here that there's Austin here at our event here. He's a heck of a hype man.
Yes, he is. He gets it going. It's like second nature to him.
Listen, guys, we are the people. You see me moving around. I'm trying to hook up with everybody. I love all of you. Thank you so much.
It's such, this is one of the few times I actually uploaded something in like high definition to YouTube, like the proper definition, and YouTube's like fussing. It's like, no, not you guys.
You can't have
that. No. You put everything in a low bit rate. Come on, not this.
Naturally, when you want to see it in high def.
It's perfect. It gives just the taste we need to have. Just enough that people go, I'm going to go find that on YouTube. And it's up on YouTube.
Yeah.
You can go look up Texas Cannabis Collective on YouTube. Hey, it's one of those places we haven't been shadow banned yet.
Imagine that.
At least the channel hasn't.
Yeah.
See who else I had in here. Amanda. See if we can get the video.
Amanda did a great job.
See, we got Amanda Grace Hughes.
Higher Education, Texas.
It's like,
and the administrator for the Texas for Responsible Marijuana Policy. Give a round of applause for Amanda.
Can you hear it? I want to make sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it's low, but I hear it.
Well, let's hear the official statement from President Biden on marijuana reform. As often said during my campaign for president, no one should be in jail for just using or possessing marijuana. Sending people
Amen
to prison
to that.
for
I think we all agreed on that.
has upended too many lives and incarcerated people for conduct that many states no longer prohibit. Criminal records for marijuana possession have also imposed needless barriers.
Yeah, she did. She did a great job with that.
Yes, she did.
You see, y'all want to look it up. If you're listening in, you can go to YouTube, type in Amanda Hughes speech at Texas MJ March and Freedom Festival. I put MJ March because, I have heard if you put marijuana, if you put cannabis in your title, it's a possibility you're going to get a nice little shadow ban on that.
Yep.
And we had
Karen. Those are the key things they look for.
Yeah. And here's
Karen. Karen Reeves. Yeah.
I want to come up here today to remind everyone, as you know, and now life knows, what Beasley says, no one belongs in jail for a plan, right?
Amen.
Yeah, nobody belongs in jail for the plant.
We don't deserve to be treated like people that are less than worthy, right? When you're going along the road and you see a car behind you, I'd be scared. I'm not even driving, right? So we don't deserve to be treated like that or felt like that in the United States of America.
I agree. Nobody does.
Amen.
I don't know what came to my mind when she says about worthy is was like Wayne and Garth from Wayne's World. We're not worthy. We're not worthy.
Oh, Lord. Talk about bringing back some old memories.
But we are worthy.
We're beyond worthy.
So what did I say? Oh, yeah. To tell everybody about this this little montage I put together. I say,
the little video you did. That was pretty cool.
If it'll load.
There's something happening here.
Good old Buffalo Springfield.
Yeah. Couldn't have picked a better song for the video.
There's a man with a gun over there telling me I got to beware.
I'm not going to spoil it for everybody. You can go check it out. It's it said Buffalo Springfield, for what it's worth, the Fort Worth MJ March music video. Yeah, I was torn. I really was torn between this song and It Ain't Easy.
Yeah.
David Bowie's version.
Yeah. They're both fitting for the cause, that's for sure.
Is it definitely ain't easy?
No, it's hard work. And what a lot of people don't understand is the hard work that goes on behind the scenes to put on an event like this. We've had a lot of people reaching out recently saying, hey, why aren't you doing that in San Antonio? How can we do this in Dallas? And how do we get this in Houston? And folks,
I saw that.
There's a lot of people saying that. And so, I'll just be honest with you. Number one, the very first question you got to ask, do you have a park or an area that's available for lease, rent, where you can do this? Because we had to pay for a fee, a rental for that city park in Fort Worth. The second question, obviously, is your city going to be open to the idea to this kind of event? Is the police force going to be open to the idea of this kind of event? And of course, in regard to those two, I would point the finger at the city of Fort Worth and the fact that they've been allowing this to happen for like 8-9 years now, and there's been zero incidents. There's been no problems. There's been no issues. So those are the first, the 1, 2, 3s of figuring out if you can do it, in your area.
Luckily, and part of that, I think somebody asked me about Austin. About Austin, Texas, about us having one there. And it's like, well, the city is one thing. The capital's a complete other thing.
Absolutely. Obviously.
And then even with the city, the Veterans Day parade, they don't allow anything that deals political to be in the parade. And it's because in the past they had Sons of the Confederacy showing up and being in the parade. So they said, you know what? No more political stuff. That's how we keep this from being an issue. So the moment we start having something, the moment they'll come up and go, hey, we want to have ours, you allow this other political group to do so. So it could be not even that the city doesn't like the idea of marijuana or cannabis or hemp or anything.
It could be other issues.
They go, hey, we don't want other groups bothering us to do a similar type of march.
Yeah. And then the fourth thing, and probably one of the most important, along with, if the city and the police force are willing to play along, is the fact that this event took pretty good sized budget. I mean, basically our budget was about 10 grand for this whole thing. Everything we put together between the city park rental fee, the city permits, insurance that we had to purchase for the event, restroom facilities rental and service, trash service. I mean, the list goes on and on, folks, when you want to put on an event like this. So the questions that you ask, why aren't we doing this in your city? It's pretty easy to answer. And a lot of it has to do with the fact that the city of Fort Worth and DFW Normal that started this event many, many years ago have been doing this a long time, and they have a partnership that they've built. So if you want to do this in your city, that's what you're going to have to do. You're going to have to start to work on those partnerships to begin with.
Oh yeah, for sure. I guess it ain't easy.
It ain't easy.
It ain't easy.
Again, it ain't easy.
Ain't easy to get to heaven when you're going down. It is quite the thing. So we're going to go into a sponsor break here at the Lonestar Collective podcast. I'm your host, Jesse Williams. Man, this is our seasonal update. This is episode 57. We'll be right back after these sponsor messages, and we'll be right back with Gramps. Oak Cliff Cultivators is a sponsor of Texas Cannabis Collective and the Lonestar Collective podcast. Oak Cliff focuses on quality assurance with their hemp products while providing customer service to help you discover cannabinoids to meet your needs. Their product line includes hemp flower, pre-rolls, CBG tinctures, edibles, Delta 8, and merch. For more information on their products' quality or to shop online today, visit oakcliffcultivators.com or contact them at info@oakcliffcultivators.com.
Thrive Apothecary offers an experience truly unique from anything else in Texas. A full-service cannabis solution that is doctor-owned and offers customers every level of cannabis legally available in Texas. From traditional CBD products to emerging hemp-derived THC edibles, smokables, and now medical cannabis. As a licensed medical cannabis provider, prospective patients from anywhere in Texas can book a sponsored online eligibility consultation to determine if they qualify for a medical marijuana prescription from the comfort of their own home. Plus, for Texas veterans, the first prescription appointment is donated by Thrive. Visit thrivetx.com for more information.
Welcome back to the Lonestar Collective podcast, the official podcast of Texas Cannabis Collective. Distributed on Spotify, iTunes, Google Podcasts, Facebook, and much more to give Texans information regarding policy, industry, and culture. Here is this week's host, Jesse Williams and Gramps.
Welcome back to the Lonestar Collective podcast. I'm your host, Jesse Williams. I'm joined this week by my co-host, Gramps. I'm getting all tripped up, man. It's been...
You're worn out, just like the rest of us, dude. It's been a long week.
Yeah. It's a week. It ain't even been a week, man.
No, not yet.
I know is that we left the march, and for some reason I caught like a second wind talking to somebody I met during the cannabis roundup before, and you walked by, left. I probably was there for like another 30 minutes after you left, and then finally got in my car, started driving on the road, got some food, and all of a sudden I realized like I couldn't really bend forward. I couldn't like do this number where you're like, oh yeah, my back, like that wasn't happening. I got home, I had to like pull my legs up out of the car, like grab them, like, and for like 3 days, I could just feel it in my back. Like the balls of my feet were like, no, brother, no.
Dude, I got up Saturday morning at 5:30, or actually I got up at 5. Didn't really start moving around until about 5:30, and that was because the texts started coming in. And I was at the park at 9:45 that morning, and people were already there and setting up, and a couple of them in the wrong places. So I had to kind of straighten that out at first, but most everybody knew right where to go. But I did not stop, literally, until I think it was about 2:30 in the afternoon when I finally grabbed a sandwich from Chiba Hut and sat down and just inhaled that. And I looked over at David Bass and Sean Meredith, and I was like, it's the first time I've sat down all day. You know,
those moments where you inhaled the sandwich and I looked over and you're like, don't judge me.
Well, they didn't see the sandwich part. I moved. I didn't say that. I'd moved spots. So I moved over where they were and I sat down. I'm like, you know, this is the first time I've just stopped all day. And of course they both were like, well, it's a great event. You know, great job. Y'all did excellent, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yeah, thank you. Gotta go. And up I went again, you know.
Adios.
And I mean, well, you saw what time it was that I left. It was almost 8 o'clock when I left the park. It was about 8:45 when I got home, and I was literally, like you say, I got home and I had to turn and pull my legs out of the truck up to the side.
Yeah.
And like sit there a minute and rub them like, wake up.
The way to describe it that I know you definitely understand is the first day you ever work on a construction site. We've done all that walking and all that climbing and you weren't used to that.
Yeah, and the next day when you get up and you go, oh God.
Because I remember getting out of the Navy and then working this random tech job, and then I got cable installation, putting network cable in the building, 3 flights of stairs with no elevator because it's a building being built. They hadn't put the elevator completely in.
Yeah, there's no elevator yet. Mm-hmm.
And man, I remember getting home and having to, like I said, lift my legs out of the car because my legs were nope, nuh-uh, you weren't supposed to do that today.
Yeah, I worked on a project. It's been several years ago, but obviously because I've been in an office for the last almost 10, but I worked on a project for about 2.5 years from start to finish. And most of that was just walking, you know, around the project, keeping an eye on the people, making sure everybody's doing quality work and that kind of thing. And needless to say, we finished that project. I got handed a set of blueprints for the next project. My partner and I go out there the first day, and we spend the first day doing nothing but popping lines on the floor, you know, laying out the walls and everything. And of course, for anybody who doesn't understand what that entails, that means you do about 4,000 crunches in one day. And while you're the only weight you're lifting while doing those crunches is the weight of your body, it takes its toll.
Oh yeah.
And you literally cannot move the next day.
You sent me this link. We're gonna pull this up. The good old CBS story.
Oh yeah, they did a pretty nice story on our event.
You'll see a lot of that at this festival.
Where's the sound from them?
In downtown Fort Worth.
There it
A
is.
few hundred gathered here to have the goal of
Oh yeah, look at that.
legally.
I want to be part of the movement.
Downtown Fort Worth, folks.
In a fight that been fighting for so long.
Why not legalize weed when hydros are legalized? Xanax is legalized.
I like to see
Yeah. For those who don't understand hydro, she means hydrocodone.
And at 4:20 in the afternoon, a march began around downtown with people chanting, holding signs, and smoking weed. In this crowd, everyone has their reasons to be here. And for Chris Grasulia, it's his son William, who died in 2016 at just 23 years old when he died from a seizure. He didn't have the chance to try medical marijuana.
It would have possibly been life-changing or life-saving for him. My goal is simple. I want no other parent to have to wake up every single day, and that's the first thought we have, because that's what I do. And that's the bottom line.
This festival comes just days after President Biden announced pardons for federal offenses of simple marijuana possession. People here say it's a small step, but more needs to be done here locally.
we're super behind. There's a lot of things that we can do with the tax money behind legalizing marijuana.
In Texas, possession of up to 2 ounces of marijuana is a misdemeanor, which could come with jail time and a $2,000 fine. More than 4 ounces is a felony.
Once our laws change, I'll be more happy.
However, some lawmakers have raised concerns
The
that
pothead.
decriminalizing marijuana would lead people towards harder drugs, and crime would increase if there's no enforcement.
They just need to deschedule it and be done with it.
In Fort Worth, Nick Starling,
They
CBS 11.
just need to deschedule it and be done with it.
I don't know who said that.
Who was that bold man?
Me.
How could you say something so brave yet so bold?
Well, because it's true. That's how. Absolutely.
Exactly. We've got the Referendum Fest coming up in San Marcos.
That's right.
See if I make this a little bit bigger so it's actually viewable. That's a bit better. Yeah, the Referendum Fest is at 313 Nicola Alley. The park is known as Private Park. That's what it's called. It's a little private piece of land that somebody owns there, and somewhat towards downtown. And it's nice little clear. I wouldn't call it a cleared area. It's got some trees to it, but it's a nice little area to hold a little get together. So they're holding the Referendum Fest out there. The Mono Amiga is.
Yeah, and this is in San Marcos, right?
Yeah, correct. It is in San Marcos, Texas, just south of Austin, north of New Braunfels, on I-35. MC Square, Los Gatos 512, Our Last Days, and Honey Rot are going to be performing.
Cool.
It's going to be from 5 p.m. to 11 p.m. There's no cost, just like the festival we just held.
Best kind.
Yep. And the big thing is just to push everybody, remind everybody to vote in the upcoming election. There is a ballot initiative in San Marcos to decriminalize in the city. Yep. So it's a reminder for everybody who's there that that's going to be on their ballot. And
Let's remind everybody everywhere that there's a ballot initiative on the ballot.
Was it Denton? Denton's on there, San Marcos, Killeen, Harker Heights. Who else? I think Seguin is going to be has a ballot initiative.
Yeah.
So there's like 6 cities total that have a ballot initiative this election. And you get to choose if you want your police to have that as a priority or not. And that's basically what it is. People are like, oh, they're changing the law. It's like, no, we're making it to where the police don't have this as a priority.
No longer enforce the law.
And they go, well, you can't do that. And it's like, how many times do people run red lights and stop signs? And the police go, you know what? I'm not bothering with that right now. Because there's a guy lighting a dumpster on fire across the street. It's a little bit more important.
Yeah. Yeah. As it should be.
So yeah, it's not that we're changing the law in Texas. We're not legalizing. We're just saying this is not as important as they want to make it out to be, and we want to codify that because we have district attorneys that say, oh, I don't want to have to deal with that. That's not the case out in San Marcos. The DA out there for the county has pretty much he wants plea deals. And certain, I don't want to call them arraignments, but he basically wants, if he don't care what it is, from what I've been told, he doesn't want to test if it's hemp or not. He just wants to take you to court, and pretty much has gotten them all on board to go, so we can just save time. How about you just take a 1 year deferment and you go through these courses and you do X, Y, and Z, and we'll call it a day. And it's like, that's what the city of Austin was doing like 5 years ago.
Yeah.
That was like the head of the game 5 years ago. That's way behind now.
Yeah. It's old news. We need to move on from that. We need to, just like that guy in that news story said, we need to just deschedule and be done with it.
Exactly. Bingo.
So what else we got coming up, Jesse?
We have an election, obviously. I mean, we're talking about ballot measures. We have an election coming up.
Mm-hmm. Very important election, I think, for a multitude of reasons. Cannabis being one of those. It's ironic that people want to say this shouldn't be an election issue, but I think there are certain politicians who made it an election issue, in my opinion. I don't know what your thoughts are on that, Jesse.
Well, I'm going to get into my thoughts about that a little bit. We need to I do want to eventually be able to wrap this show up and have it done in 3 segments. So we're going to go into a sponsor break here at the Lone Star Collective Podcast. We will be doing that. We'll be coming back and talking about these issues and how cannabis, we'll talk about how cannabis is not a single policy issue that people would be voting on if they're voting for cannabis. So I'm your host, Jesse Williams, the Lone Star Collective Podcast. This week, episode 57, our seasonal update here at the Lone Star Collective and Texas Cannabis Collective. We will be right back after our sponsor messages. Oak Cliff Cultivators is a sponsor of Texas Cannabis Collective and the Lone Star Collective Podcast. Oak Cliff focuses on quality assurance with their hemp products while providing customer service to help you discover cannabinoids to meet your needs. Their product line includes hemp flower, pre-rolls, CBG tinctures, edibles, Delta-8, and merch. For more information on their products' quality or to shop online today, visit oakcliffcultivators.com or contact them at info@oakcliffcultivators.com.
Thrive Apothecary offers an experience truly unique from anything else in Texas. A full-service cannabis solution that is doctor-owned and offers customers every level of cannabis legally available in Texas. From traditional CBD products to emerging hemp-derived THC edibles, smokables, and now medical cannabis. As a licensed medical cannabis provider, prospective patients from anywhere in Texas can book a sponsored online eligibility consultation to determine if they qualify for a medical marijuana prescription from the comfort of their own home. Plus, for Texas veterans, their first prescription appointment is donated by Thrive. Visit thrivetx.com for more information.
Welcome back to the Lone Star Collective Podcast, the official podcast of Texas Cannabis Collective. Distributed on Spotify, iTunes, Google Podcasts, Facebook, and much more to give Texans information regarding policy, industry, and culture. Here is this week's host, Jesse Williams and Gramps.
Welcome back to the Lone Star Collective Podcast. I'm your host, Jesse Williams. This week is episode 57. I'm joined by co-host Gramps here at the Lone Star Collective Podcast. It's our seasonal update. We were just talking about how some politicians, they say this shouldn't be a politicized issue, and it's a nonpartisan issue. Yeah. There's people on both sides, at least in the state of Texas. On the state level, it is a bipartisan supported item. And I think one of the things we were leading out with is it bothers me is that people go, I can't believe you vote just on cannabis. And to me, it's not just cannabis, but cannabis covers multiple areas. And I say, at minimum, it's a criminal justice reform item. It is a healthcare reform item. Yes. It is a social welfare and social justice reform item. And people are like, oh, you talk about social justice, social welfare. And I'm trying to remember her name. She wrote the piece for the Rice Baker Institute. Catherine?
Maybe. I know what you're talking about, but if you
she wrote
put
a
me on the
piece.
spot, I could have told you probably.
She wrote this piece for the Rice Baker Institute. I remember handing it out in 2019. And the reason why I remember handing it out was because the very day I was handing it out at the Capitol was the day the legislature was like, we want to celebrate the Rice Baker Institute of Public Policy and how great they are at public policy. They're just wonderful, wonderful people over there coming up with all this policy information to help us guide our way. And here she had this paper just released. We're like, yo, then take a look at this. Because it shows that despite use evenly amongst white people and people of color, minorities, that the arrest rates are not the same, that the judgments against people were not the same.
And not even close.
Well, yeah, it's a major disparity. Hence the phrase, it is already legal for white people, had become a thing, had become a phrase in the community. And it's like she had this data in this paper that the Institute published and was like, here it is. Here's the disparity. It's true. And then point out, it's like the state really needs to decriminalize this. Yeah. It's like, that's the biggest thing. They need to decriminalize it. And decriminalization is not legalization all the time.
No, it's not even close.
And I've seen that lately. People going, I don't want decrim. That's just another fancy way of saying legalize. And it's like,
yeah, well, that's
not really.
That's something Dan Patrick says all the time. That's just the first step off the slippery slope to legalization. Well, no, decriminalization means we simply are going to stop prosecuting and putting people in jail for plant matter, a victimless crime where no one gets hurt. We're not talking about people who, use a gun and kill somebody while they're under the influence of something or something like that, or use, a violent crime associated along with and all that good stuff. We're talking about simple possession, even at, like I say, at the federal level, one step that the president left off is the majority of the actual federal prisoners, what they're serving time for is trafficking across state lines. And I'm sorry, that still is a crime with no victim, folks. Those people need to be set free too, period. And back to the nonpartisan idea, that's a nonpartisan issue. We've seen it here in the Texas legislature with super majorities out of the House. We haven't seen it in the Senate. Why?
Dun, 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 dun,
Oh, Dirty Dan strikes again.
Why, Lieutenant Dan? Why don't you do something?
Well, because
Lieutenant Dan ain't got no legs.
I would say it's more like he has legs that are of the wrong kind in terms of the people that hold him up and support him, like private prison industry, the oil industry, the pharmaceutical industry, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. That's the people who are not there yet when he says that. Just my opinion, but.
And the funny thing is, you mentioned about people talk about the victimless crime idea is that people are like, but there's cartels and they're hurting people. And it's like, then they're hurting people, and that's the crime.
Yeah.
The crime isn't the plant itself. The plant itself isn't hurting anybody. Its use isn't hurting anybody. There's cartels that say, hey, we can exercise force because if you try to say anything, the government's going to throw you in jail too.
Yeah.
That's where the issue comes into play. It's a government created problem.
It's a government created problem.
It's rare for me to say that.
That stems from a government supported problem. And that's called big business and greed. That's the only way I know to put it. And
then we've talking about like the single policy thing. It's like it's at least 3 items. And there was a post one of the libertarian pages put up a while back. It's a tree, and it's all these little things, all little branches, or individual items that like cannabis reform deals with. And it's like, yeah, it's a multitude of items.
Sure. It's a multifaceted subject. There's a multitude of things that are affected by cannabis prohibition, all the way down to, like even the president said in his announcement, too many people have been negatively impacted in the long term for employment, in buying a home, trying to get a better education. The list goes on. And I commend him for his calling on all governors to do the same at the state level. And I have to point out, because I've seen a lot of people going, what he did does nothing, because there are very few federal people get in trouble for possession. Guess what, folks? There's actually quite a few. And he did urge the governors to do it at the state level. And the reason he urged the governors to do it at the state level is because he can't. He does not have that ability.
The same way he cannot, people were talking about, Trump's going to pardon X, Y, and Z from this state punishment. It's like, no, he can't. He can't pardon them from that. That's a state level item. The Constitution doesn't allow our president to do that.
Exactly. You cannot overstep the state's authority, period.
And that is something that's been explicitly, routinely labeled as a state authority. So he can't go in and do that. And it's amazing that we post up about it, about how Governor Abbott for the last 4 years, I said 3 years. And somebody corrected me. I was like, it's been 4. His last election cycle, he was saying, I don't think people should be locked up for this.
Yeah.
And Biden was like, you know what? People shouldn't be locked up for this. And immediately his press team responded with, well, violent criminals, revolving door with Biden. We're not taking advice from a guy like that. And it's like, wait, what? You were just on the same page. What are you talking about?
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. And there's something that I said to my wife recently, and because she was kind of saying some of the same things you're saying now, different subjects maybe, but same type of reasoning, right? Why is he doing this? Why that? Well, I say it's because our governor, Governor Abbott, bless his little fleeking heart, he stopped running for governor of Texas 3 years ago. He started running for president of the United States while Donald Trump was still president of the United States. That's my opinion. It's just an opinion, but his eyes and his ambitions are on things beyond Texas. And while he doesn't really want to lose, definitely to a Democrat prior to trying to run for president, I don't think governorship is really on his radar that strongly. I really don't.
It's something he doesn't really have to.
It's not
as hard as
exactly.
It's not hard for him compared to other governors in other states. And then, let's say we talked about the fallout of who's not getting it. I did an interview. I talked to Justin Machacek, who was arrested for basically having a gun and weed in his car. He owns a legal dispensary. He operating a facility, a processing facility up in Oklahoma to do medical processing, and lived in Texas. And basically, because of this weird mixed match patch of laws we have, they went, "Oh, you have a gun. Well, now you're a criminal with a addicting substance with the firearm. We need to federally charge you and take your money." And they gave him 6 months. He served it pre-trial. He gave him 6 months. He's on 2 years of supervised visits, basically form of deferred parole, deferred adjudication of sort on the federal level. And they give him UAs. He can't even be in. I believe he was in the medical program for Oklahoma. I'd have to check back with him, but he popped on a UA net. They revoked his bail, and they were like, "We don't care. We don't care why it's in your system." So when people are like, "Oh, it's pretty good that parole officers," it's up to each parole officer in each court, and he's an example of a court that went, "Nope, don't care."
See, that's considered a federal offense, and they don't care at federal level. Yep. They don't. You can have all the medical cards in every state that's got a medical program, and they still ain't going to give a shit.
Well, here's something else that's important that's coming up. We almost just glossed this over.
Oh, yeah.
We definitely need to be speaking about it. Karen would chew my ear off. You had an opportunity. Oh, you're right, I did. So I'm taking it. It's for you, Karen. Karen Frummel. The Texas Hemp Awards voting has started.
Yep.
And we are nominated for some items. You are too, and so is Austin.
Yeah. We're also taking the Texas Hemp Awards. I'm a judge in the product categories, and they're accepting submissions now too. So if you got submissions for the Texas Hemp Awards, get them in.
You can find our article at texascanico.com. There's a link to the Texas Hemp Awards, which is texashempawards.com. But we've been, the Cannabis Collective itself has been nominated for 5 items. We're up for Texas-based Advocate Warrior. Austin and you, Gramps, you're up for that as well.
Yeah.
And then the Texas Hemp event held in 2022, our Cannabis Roundup, which we were the advocacy partner on with Texas Cannabis TV and Greenlight Events back in, July?
Yeah.
We're up for that. And then the March, the Freedom March festival we just had. So if you were out there and enjoyed that, vote for that. We're always up for that. I'd like to see that. That to me is the event to get an award. That was the astounding item. And
it was pretty. I mean, I'm going to sound conceited here, but I still say that's the largest, most highly attended, most visible event in Texas.
And then hemp-based production is funny. We're technically on there twice, you could say.
Yeah, I saw that.
And I was talking to her, and it's kind of the explanation is like, there's so many people are like, oh, that's the Texas Cannabis Collective podcast. And I was like, no, the Lonestar Collective podcast. For some reason, we're known by both names.
It's one and the same.
So despite they're one and the same, but people label them differently. So hopefully those folks go together, regardless of which one you pick.
Yeah, maybe they tally them all together. I think they should.
Texas-based nonprofit with a cannabis-focused mission. Us, the Texas Cannabis Collective, even our vet side of things, Vet Coalition.
Yeah, I saw that too.
Is nominated. And then I'm on there for TikTok, along with the Cannabis Collective's Instagram account. My TikTok is littered with just random stuff, things I made my first go around at college. So if you want to see me from like 5 years ago, doing a Pepsi challenge, but without Pepsi, just urine and Coors, they don't taste any different.
Yeah, I bet.
I don't know how my buddy would know that, but he figured it out.
I saw that one, by the way. That was a good one.
It was all green screen in front of an HEB. We don't even know where that HEB's at. It's just some random HEB picture we green screened in there. And you can see at the end where he's throwing me into the corner of the wall. You can see the corner of the lines in it.
It worked.
And we've listed off everybody else who's also in the running. So
yeah, there's a bunch of good nominations this year, I think. A lot better than last year. A lot bigger spread, I think, than last year.
And then there's another event. Almost forgot. We'll finish it off with this. Let's see if it sits in the middle of this. There's Biden talking about all of his stuff. I did not put him in there. So we got an article about Biden doing the change.
Yeah.
Let's see if we've got an article about Denton. I wanted to highlight that we've got some articles about decrim going on in Denton. There's the Referendum Fest. And then we've got the Hemp Summit.
That's right, the Hemp Summit.
The Texas Hemp Summit by the Texas Hemp Coalition.
We were forgetting.
That's November 11th and 12th, 2022. TexasHempCoalition.org/summit. If you go to our site, we've been putting that like a little sponsor thing, the lower half of our articles, where our articles are long enough to have that. And you could use code SummitTCC for $25 off. Right now it is early bird pricing. So we're going to take a look. SummitTCC, $25 off. Number 11, the Texas A&M University. Oh, and if you're a college student, you get in for free. So as long as you got a college email and you got a college ID, you can get into the event for free. Yeah, early bird general admission right now is $110. General admission after early bird is up is $150, and students are free. I'm not sure when that general admission early bird ends. I think it might have been in the email she sent to me. It's not listed here, so my recommendation is you get your ticket now.
There you go. Hurry up.
Do not wait. Be like, I didn't know when it was going to end. Be like, okay, then the smart thing to do is get it now.
Get it now. Get it now. Get it while the getting's good, folks.
And unless you're getting paid really soon and you know the bank account's going upwards, it's smarter to get it now when you know you have the money and the bank account's not going downwards. No, you're not like a week from now going, I don't have that money in my bank account. I did a week ago when those guys put the podcast out.
That's the story of my life. Why do you keep pointing fingers at me, Jesse?
Don't judge me.
What else we got? That's pretty much it, I think, isn't it?
That's a good chunk of it, at least.
Yeah. And, of course, with the elections coming up, we've got the elections. And then right after the elections, what happens? Our Texas representatives and senators start pre-filing bills.
Oh, yeah.
So be sure, as soon as the elections are over, that you start contacting your either newly reelected or newly elected representative and start letting your feelings be known.
Well, some of them are automatically coming back. I know Representative Click is coming back. She had no contender, so she's back.
Yeah.
If you were in her district, you need to start talking with her already.
Absolutely.
She's on board. I can tell you that. I know. I know. Last says she's on board. She wants to see big moves on the medical side for sure.
A lot bigger than what she's been allowed to have happen.
Oh yeah, she's definitely on board, and this is something I'll give props to Governor Abbott too as well. They're on board for moving this to where the legislature doesn't pick conditions anymore, and that goes over to DSHS.
Yeah.
And if it works the same way incurable neurodegenerative disorders worked, talk about a broad program then. Mm-hmm. If things get picked the way that got picked and spread out, oh my Lord, it'll be a CVS receipt of a list of things. That's how long the list is going to be. Several CVS receipts of conditions that'll be covered, people.
Sure, absolutely. Of course, we need to get that all the way to where it's in between doctors and patients, and there ain't nobody deciding those things other than doctors and patients. But we'll take what we can get.
It takes steps. People want the door people just want the door to fly open. That was something I remember. I think when I first met you, I was talking about the capitals. I was like, everybody wants to just kick the door wide open, and this state's never going to have that. It's always going to be little steps, little creaks where you open the door a little bit more and more. Yeah. And and people go, I don't like that. It's like, well, that's how the people in this state tend to vote, though. They vote for candidates that do that, and the system's designed to do that.
Yep, pretty much.
But I think that's about it. That's gonna wrap it up for this episode here. Man, we had a lot to talk about for once. without a guest. So without a guest.
That's doing something.
Alrighty. Well, yeah, it is getting to be that time. So we're going to wrap it up here at the Lonestar Collective Podcast. I'm your host, Jesse Williams. I'm joined by co-host Gramps this week. This week is episode 58. Not 58, it's 57. There it is, right there below my head on the video. Episode 57.
You're already thinking about next week. Look at you.
The season update. Next week will be a guest seasonal update, and then it'll be 2 guest seasonal updates. And they tell 2 friends, and they tell 2 friends. I wish our podcast worked that way with getting out there. But that's going to do it this week for the Lone Star Collective Podcast. Give us a like and a subscribe. That way this shows up in your feed a lot more often. It also shows other people our podcast as well, especially if you're out on YouTube. And then once you're done watching this, go watch something else we have. We have a little set of shorts up there now. A lot of interesting stuff being put on our YouTube account. Go check out our shorts section there and enjoy yourself. Make sure you subscribe. You want to get legislative updates this coming year. We love y'all. Y'all be safe. Peace.